Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Advice from a Call Center Geek, the Call Center Contact Center podcast. We try to give you some actionable items, take back in your contact center, improve the overall quality, improve your agent experience, hopefully improve your customer experience as well. What's going on? It's been way too long. I've been doing a lot of recordings and speaking engagements as podcasts, but I have not done a live LinkedIn podcast with you guys in a really long time. It's been pretty crazy, but yeah, it's been good. It's been good. I have a lot to talk to you guys about, a lot that I've learned in the last even probably, 30 to 60 days since really I last talked and kind of did one of these podcasts. So again, if you're listening, please, if you're on LinkedIn, any questions that you have, please ask away. I don't want to really talk about OttoQA. I want to talk more about Otto with an A, right? Just the technology in general. Things that I've seen, my changing perceptions on where analytics is going. And I think this could be a little bit, maybe a little eye-opening for you as well. I had a chance to speak in Philadelphia at the Philadelphia Museum of Art for a nice CX1 event on road mapping your AI 2 days ago, as I kind of record this here on the 25th of April. And it was really amazing. First of all, the venue was awesome, right? It felt like just a really cool, it's in their grand stair hall, was a really awesome venue. But the questions that I got had a lot to do not just with AI. And again, I don't want to really go down this AI path with this podcast episode, but when I asked the question, how many of you guys, and there's probably, say 50, 60 people in the audience, how many people are in their companies are on path and feel comfortable about where they are from a road mapping standpoint from AI? And literally nobody raised their hand. Again, same thing that happened to me when I was speaking in Miami. So, a lot of people think they're behind, but I think if these people are behind, then everybody's behind. So I look at the low hanging fruit, the really easy stuff that you can utilize, that's extremely inexpensive, that you're not going to have to get a huge push from maybe senior leadership to start to move on this roadmap. And there's specific tools that I talk about, and again, I'm going to post that probably early next week, my full talk that I did in Philly that to kind of discusses what I'm just saying. But one of the tools is OttoQA. And it's been fascinating to me to see as we go down. I'm looking at my board now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17 beta customers right now that are in the process of moving to become hopefully paid members, right? 4 of them right now, I guess 4 as of today, have full paid subscriptions. So we've learned a lot in this, having these kind of 20 initial customers. And while OttoQA does a really good job of just scoring calls and scoring agent behaviors, we have found that more and more companies have a kind of a thirst for real analytic data, that the tools out there right now, while look cool, the bottom line is they just do not meet the exact needs of customers. And I think you're starting to see a shift in analytics away from bubbles, right? That were cool when they first came out and they show really well on demos, but the actual data that they're giving, you really have to dig deep, and it takes a little bit of time and work. Where now with these OttoQA platforms, we're just literally asking questions of the data. So where you could ask questions on agent behaviors very easily, right? Did we read the correct scripted greeting? Did we show empathy? Did we use probing questions? Was the proper disclosures read? Like all of that stuff, OttoQA platforms can do extremely well. But we're finding that we're getting customers that want more, that they want to ask questions about cancels. So they'll literally create a form right now that just deals with auto scoring cancel calls and answering questions. Right? Is this a true cancellation call? Yes, it is. Well, then why did the customer cancel? Was it because it was too expensive? Did they have an issue with a contractor? Like blah, blah, like 8 different reasons why somebody would cancel. And normally we would kind of stop there if it was, too expensive, right? Because that's what the customer says. But too expensive can mean a ton of things. Does it mean that they lost their job, that they just don't have the money anymore, that the product is actually too expensive, right? There's a lot of different financial questions that can be asked of that data. And so instead of just kind of looking at the phrase, too expensive or can't afford, we can go deeper into these actual questions that analytics maybe can kind of give you that kind of macro level. But now we can really say out of the, 2,032 calls that we QA scored last week, I don't know, 1,722 canceled because of too expensive, and it's because of the product was too expensive. 232 did because they just can't afford it anymore because they lost their job, whatever. But you're getting granular data that you can actually use to create marketing products or marketing tools or campaigns to meet specific customer segments. And I'm a huge analytic guy, as you guys know. I think it's one of the greatest, I don't know, inventions. I guess it's an invention. One of the greatest tools that we've ever had in CX. And it's totally reshaped our company here at Expedia, right? And you've heard me talk a lot about that, not just from the I always use the phrase, the too expensive. And that's what really blew my mind, right? So normally when people talk about, hey, you have an analytics platform? Yes. I'm like, yeah, we do. It's really cool. It's interaction analytics. It's on CX1. We can do things like tell you what percentage of customers called and used the phrase too expensive yesterday. And we kind of stop there because that's really how far we went. Now, we probably could have gone to some categories, subcategories, and really dug deep, but it's kind of a pain. We're just literally asking that question, right? And having Otto then think and hear what is being said. So we're asking a question of the data. Otto is answering, and Otto QA platforms are answering questions on the data now, where that's what we said analytics was going to do. But I think analytics is trending. It's macro. If you really want to dig deep into a topic and build the form out just from a analytics standpoint, I think it blows away just regular kind of keyword looking analytic platforms, right? Looking for intent, looking at outcomes, right? Asking questions on outcomes, not just did the agent say this or did the customer say this on a call. It's totally changed my thought process on where analytics is going, what we can do now, because so many of these beta customers are using this from just a compliance tool, using it just for a retention tool. And again, there's still a lot that are using it for just regular QA because we're really good at that too. But it's totally changed my demos. It's totally almost changed the marketing that we're going to do on the website. And I think that's why you beta test too, right? to see what the tool, how are customers really going to use the tool? And now that we have access to things that we never really had access to before. And I think here's the other thing. We can do this, literally, we can do this at scale for extremely cheap. So analytic platforms, right? You're paying like a per seat charge. You're kind of getting all of this kind of trending data in. Extremely useful. Still love it. Like, not saying that there's not a use case for it, right? But especially if you're a smaller contact center, like let's say that you do, I don't know, say 1,000 or under calls a day, right? You could pretty easily, score a vast majority of those calls and ask the actual questions. Like, how many times again have we even look at analytics, or we talk to the analytics person who's in charge of that and try to get questions, and they kind of give us answers, but it's a little general. You're not really sure on what percentage of the calls did those really happen. Was it all right? And now there's no more debating it. You know exactly how many calls you did. You know how many times they said that on a call. You're asking questions. So we're not looking for just did they say these specific words, but was the intent to do this? Did somebody say, hey, I've lost my job, right? We don't have to look for the keyword lost my job. The AI understands that this is the reason why they have to cancel. So it's almost like talking to a human and asking a human being the same questions that they would listen to on a call, but doing it at mass amounts of scale. So at this second, and I see, I know CX1 is doing it, and I have not demoed all AI. kind of analytics platforms, but I think it's I don't think it's called Enlighten Actions. I think that's wrong. But anyway, they have a tool that basically just looks like a Google search bar that you literally just ask questions to. And I think that that's a really cool. That's where analytics, hardcore analytics, is moving to. Not everybody has that yet. I think it's pretty expensive. So I don't think that auto QA platforms are the going to be the end, but we're a bridge, right, to get to where the analytics of tomorrow is going to be, because this is a step, I think, above what analytics platforms are doing, because you're digging into the data that now. Here's the one thing that analytics does do better, right? Is they can tell you things that you don't know, right? So if certain trends come up, if there's maybe an email went out and you start to get like these weird calls coming in, right? You can do proactive customer support with that, right? Still a use case. AutoQA is not going to be great at that. But if there's specific things, and I think for the most part, that's what we want to know, right? We want to know, why are customers buying? What do they like? What do they not like? Why are they canceling? Like all of these type of questions we can put in and literally score and say yes or no. Did these happen? And then just kind of take all of that data and make it an extremely useful tool. So it's pretty crazy. And the thinking around here has totally changed. And I think that, auto QA can be something that's absolutely amazing as people start to, I think, trust the data a little bit more, trust the aspect of how a LLM is scoring and listening to calls. But it's been a really cool journey to kind of go through this process, figure out the prompting aspect, figure out how things can be heard on calls, right? I kind of call it, seeing the unseen. I think the best example I have is there's one client that we're doing a proof of concept for now, that when a customer calls an agent, the customer on file has to give their name, like their member ID, their phone number, address, something like that, like 3 pieces of information. But only the customer on file can do it, not a third party. But if the customer on file gives that information, a third party then can take the call over, like maybe their son or their daughter, something like that. So again, how do you figure out prompting like that? Like, it's been amazing. Like, we've been able to kind of figure out basically by what's being said on the calls and things to kind of listen for, not specific keywords, because keywords you're going to lose out, right? You have to look at intent, right? You have to look at outcomes. And if you think of it through the lens of intent, what are they intending to do? How do we kind of listen for what the end result is? What do we want this to look like at the end? And then kind of work back. We've been able to do some really cool things from that aspect. I think, one other thing with this is I want people to try this stuff out, right? You don't have to buy it, but I think that this is an unbelievably cool use case for what AI can do very quickly to an organization, how it can kind of change the data that we're utilizing, the data that we're looking at, the efficiencies that we can have. Like, it is just an amazing, AutoQA is an amazing tool in customer experience because it checks all the boxes, right? More data, less people, less expensive, better product, quicker, right? No learning curve. I just want to make sure that people that are doing the AutoQA are doing it the right way, right? Because it is not a plug and play thing, right? It's taken us 7, 8, 9 months to figure out the proper prompting for a lot of this stuff that are on the regular aspect of a form, right? It takes a little bit of time if there's something proprietary to a customer to make sure that we're hearing for that or listening for that specific outcome, right? And I get really worried when I see just kind of, upload your form and we'll figure it out, or like it's instantly ready to go. Because I think you're not going to have as much success as if somebody's really taking the time to kind of build this thing out. We're willing to do that, right? This is kind of all we're doing, right? We're just auto QAing. So I think any of the, bring me your regular, but give me your unique, right? Try to think of some things that you can pull from the data that you've always wanted. I think, coming to an organization like OttoQA, like our OTTO, we're willing and wanting to do those kind of really cool things. So again, I think there's a place for regular traditional analytics, but I think it's going away quickly. And I think once you see the power of asking questions to data, which is what ChatGPT and Claude 3 Sonnet do extremely well, but using APIs to do it at scale, then we have a tool right now that I think, for a snapshot in time, because I'm not naive to think that this may progress pretty quickly, but for a snapshot in time, you can get some unbelievable insights into your customers, into your agents, into what is actually happening. So I don't know. It's really blown my mind. I've been really excited about all the work that we've done on this. I think the customers that we've had have been excited. Nobody's left us, right? Like, so everybody's going through the beta. The only thing that we stink at and we're not good at is data on screens, right? That's coming. But, at this point, if you have to, click a box on a CRM, or, did they input the address exactly correctly? Like, we don't see that yet. We just see kind of what is happening on calls, what is happening on transcripts. So it's basically emails, voice, chat, any type of IT tickets, help desk tickets, any of that stuff that there's actual data from that we can kind of get our hands on and either create transcripts or have a transcript for, then we can rock it. So again, thank you guys. Again, not a huge long podcast, but something just of interest of me. I'd love for you guys to check it out, even if you're just utilizing the desktop of ChatGPT. Be careful, because it's not as secure, but to kind of play around with scoring and asking some questions of your transcripts, right? Upload a very vanilla transcript, and start querying it, right? And then think about, wow, what if I did this at scale and had a ton of questions to ask, and we were doing thousands of these a month? What insights, what data, how much would that be worth? And I think now it's all within the realm of cost for a smaller contact center that's 20 seats up to, those enterprise guys as well. So again, if anybody is interested, just head over to the OttoQA.com. Again, OttoQA.com. If you don't want to set up a demo with me right now, that's fine. But on the pricing page, there's just a video demo. It's like 11 minutes, so that you can kind of get an idea of what we're doing. But please, even if you're not interested in buying or doing anything right now, I'd love to show it to you. I'd love to get as much feedback as I can from everybody. And yeah, and we'll keep trucking down the road. Try to get these bad boys back to once a week. I miss a lot of you guys. I miss the questions that I've been getting. Again, the following is still there, right? We've actually gone up since I haven't done as many of these in the last 30 to 60 days. So I don't know what that's telling me, but in fact, one of the largest one that we had was about 60 days ago, and it was just an upload right from one of my talks. So again, I'll have the Philly AI road mapping discussion that I gave live next week. But thank you guys. Thank you for all of the time. Love to talk to some of you on the OttoQA stuff. Love to talk to some of you guys on the Expedia stuff. If you're looking to outsource your contact center, we throw OttoQA right into it. So it's full QA of pretty much 100% of your calls for no cost. But sounds good. Thank you guys. Talk to y'all next week.